You think you want success, more money, more freedom, more recognition. But let me ask you something. What if you're chasing the wrong thing? See, most people spend their entire lives chasing a version of success that someone else sold them. Parents, society, Instagram. That's why many don't achieve success. Some abandon their goals before reaching momentum. Others simply desire it, but don't take action to achieve it. The main reason is that those goals were never legitimately theirs in the first place. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Success isn't one size fits all. It's not just a dollar figure, a car, or a title. It's deeply personal. And if you don't stop to ask the right questions now, you'll spend decades sprinting toward the wrong finish line. Today, I'm going to rip apart the cliché definition of success. Expose the hidden questions that force you to discover what you're really pursuing, and give you the exact strategies to build a version of success that actually feels like winning. And the best part? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to success in life and how to recognize when you've arrived, so you don't just live successful, you actually feel it. So stick with me, because what you're about to hear may completely change the way you measure your life. Let's get brutally honest here. Society sold you a fake version of success. Money, power, status. That's the package deal, right? Drive the car, buy the house, flex on Instagram, and boom, you've made it. But here's the problem. None of that actually guarantees you feel successful. You know why? Because external validation is a bottomless pit. You hit one goal, instantly it shifts. You close the deal, buy the car, get the promotion, and 2 weeks later, you're back on the treadmill, chasing the next thing. It's like drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you get. I've watched entrepreneurs pull 7 figures a year and still feel like failures because they were comparing themselves to someone making 8. I've seen people climb to the corner office, finally wear the big title, and secretly Google, "Why am I still unhappy?" at 2 in the morning. And if you're nodding right now, it's probably because you felt that too. That quiet emptiness, even after you've checked the boxes you thought mattered. So let's flip the script. Listen, success isn't a trophy. It isn't an arrival point. It's a psychological state. At its core, success is about self-actualization, the process of becoming the fullest, truest version of yourself. And here's the kicker. Your definition of success isn't supposed to look like mine, or your neighbors, or your boss's. It's deeply personal. For one person, success might be financial independence at 40. For another, it's raising a family that feels deeply connected. For someone else, it's building a company that solves a problem no one else could. But what unites all of those? Success works when it's lived as a journey, not a destination. Think about it. If success is just a destination, you're miserable 99% of the time, waiting to arrive. But if success is the process, the daily progress, then you're living it right now. Not someday, not after I make it, but today. Does it make sense to you? So let me break down the 3 core elements of authentic success, the ones that actually stick, the ones that make you feel alive. First, alignment. This is living according to your values, not someone else's. When your calendar matches your convictions, you stop feeling pulled in 10 directions. You wake up knowing your actions actually matter to you. Second, progress. Humans need momentum. We need to feel like we're moving towards something meaningful, not busy work, not chasing likes, but actually advancing in the direction of goals that matter. The happiest people I know aren't the richest. They're the ones who feel like they're building, growing, creating. And third, fulfillment. And this one's the secret weapon. Fulfillment is about finding joy in the process itself, not just in the finish line. Because let's be real, if you only allow yourself to feel successful when you've arrived, you're going to be miserable 99% of the time. But if you can find satisfaction in the building, in the creating, in the tiny wins along the way, then you're successful every single day. So when we strip away society's fake definitions, when we cut through the noise, success becomes shockingly simple. Alignment, progress, and fulfillment. Everything else is just decoration. Now that we've defined what success really means, let's talk a little about what you're after. Here's the dangerous trap most people fall into. They confuse surface goals with deep desires. On the surface, you might say you want a bigger house, a nicer car, or a promotion. But ask yourself, why? Do you actually want the car? Or do you want the respect you think it'll buy you? Do you want the corner office? Or do you want the security of feeling enough? See, surface goals are what you think you want. Deep desires are what you actually need. And here's the brutal truth. If you chase surface goals without uncovering the desire underneath, you'll achieve plenty and still feel empty. Let me give you an example. I had a client who swore he wanted to scale his company to 8 figures. He was obsessed. But after some digging, we found out what he really wanted wasn't money. It was freedom. He wanted to take his kids to school without checking Slack at every red light. He didn't care about another zero in his bank account. He cared about time. The difference between achievement and fulfillment is exactly that. Achievement checks a box. Fulfillment fills a hole. And if you don't know the difference, you'll end up climbing the wrong mountain. So how do you figure out what you're really pursuing? You gotta go back to your core values. Because here's the deal. Success that isn't aligned with your values will always feel hollow. Always. Let's do a quick exercise I use with my clients. I call it the values hierarchy. Grab a piece of paper and write down your top 5 values. Not what you think they should be. What they actually are. Things like freedom, family, impact, creativity, adventure, health. Now here's where it gets real. Rank them. Which one comes first? If you had to sacrifice the others, which one would you protect? That's your compass. Because your values are shaping every decision you make, whether you realize it or not. When you're aligned with them, life feels lighter, success feels authentic. When you're misaligned, even wins feel like losses. That's why people can achieve their goals and still feel miserable. Because they were chasing a vision that violated their values. I've seen founders burn themselves out because they valued freedom but built businesses that chained them to a desk 24/7. I've seen high achievers who valued family but sacrificed every holiday on the altar of ambition, only to look back in regret. Values misalignment is the silent killer of authentic success. Now, let's go even deeper. The real reasons behind your goals. There are good reasons: growth, contribution, mastery, the desire to become more, give more, create more. Those reasons expand you, they fuel you, they light you up. But there are bad reasons too. Wanting to prove yourself, chasing approval, trying to outrun fear. Those reasons shrink you. They make you a slave to other people's opinions. And here's the sneaky part. They look the same on the outside. You might start a business because you genuinely want to solve a problem. Or because you want to prove to your dad you weren't a screw-up. Same goal, totally different outcome. One leads to fulfillment, the other leads to burnout. So here's a red flag you need to watch out for. Whenever you catch yourself saying, "I should want this," stop. That's not your authentic desire talking. That's conditioning. That's society whispering in your ear. Flip the script. Ask yourself, do I genuinely want this? Would I still want it if nobody else ever knew I achieved it? If the answer is yes, that's authentic success. If the answer is no, you're chasing smoke. And here's where it gets really interesting. Once you strip away the surface goals and uncover the deep desires, you start to see patterns. You realize maybe the thing you've been chasing isn't even yours. It was planted by culture, by parents, by social media. And when that clicks, you stop living reactively and start building intentionally. You stop chasing someone else's scoreboard and you start creating your own. So let me ask you, right now, are you building your life around your values or around other people's expectations? Because that one question can change everything. Let me ask you something raw. Who are you comparing yourself to right now? Because whether you admit it or not, you're comparing. To the guy on Instagram flashing his Lambo, to the woman on LinkedIn announcing her promotion, to the friend from high school who suddenly looks like they made it. But here's what nobody tells you. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. You see their vacation photos, you don't see their credit card debt. You see their product launch. You don't see the sleepless nights, the failed tests, the tears. Social media has turned comparison into a full-time sport, and it's killing people's ability to feel content with their own progress. Listen, comparison doesn't inspire, it corrodes. Every minute you spend wishing you had someone else's life You're stealing energy from building your own. But the competition trap goes deeper than Instagram. You might not just be competing with strangers, you're competing with your parents' dreams. Maybe you're chasing the degree, the job, the lifestyle they wanted, not you. Or maybe you're stuck on society's scorecard. Get the house, get the car, get the spouse, check the boxes. Here's the wake-up call. Those scorecards aren't yours. And if you don't create your own metrics, you'll spend your life measuring yourself against expectations that don't even belong to you. The only competition worth keeping? Compete with your past self. Ask yourself, am I better than I was yesterday? Did I grow? Did I make progress? Because that's a scorecard you can actually win. So how do you break free from comparison? Step 1. Create personal success metrics. Define what winning looks like for you. Is it being able to pick your kids up from school every day? Is it hitting a certain income level that gives you freedom, not just vanity numbers? Is it doing work you do even if nobody clapped? Step 2. Focus ruthlessly on your unique path. Stop borrowing timelines from people who aren't living your life. Your race isn't theirs. Your pace isn't theirs. Step 3. Learn to celebrate others without diminishing yourself. When someone else wins, it doesn't mean you lose. Their success isn't your failure. In fact, it's proof that the thing you want is possible. Because here's the truth. The second you stop comparing, you free up all that energy to build the life you actually want. Now, let's get tactical. If you want to discover your authentic path to success, you've got to ask the right questions, the ones most people are too scared to answer. Let's start with how you define success. First question. What would success look like if no one was watching? Think about that for a second. If you couldn't post it, brag about it, or share it, would you still want it? That question alone strips away a lot of the BS. Next one. What would I pursue if failure was impossible? If you knew you couldn't lose, what would you go after? That's usually your soul talking, before fear shows up to shut it down. And here's one of my favorites. What does my 80-year-old self want me to focus on? Imagine future you looking back. What would they regret not trying? What would they laugh at you for worrying about? That perspective cuts right through the noise. All right, now let's dig into motivation. Ask yourself, am I running toward something or away from something? Big difference. Running toward is growth. Running away is fear. Another one. Whose approval am I really seeking? These questions are uncomfortable on purpose. They're meant to crack open the surface-level answers and get you to the truth. Because once you see clearly what you're pursuing, why you're pursuing it, and what it's going to cost, you stop drifting. You start driving. And the people who actually succeed, they're the ones willing to sit in that discomfort long enough for the real answers to show up. If the answer isn't my own, you're in dangerous territory. Because the minute that external approval disappears, so will your motivation. And then, what am I afraid will happen if I don't achieve this? Be real with yourself. Sometimes the fear is valid. Other times, it's just a phantom that's been steering your life without you even noticing. And finally, expectations. Ask, what do I expect life to give me versus what am I willing to give life? Too many people walk around entitled to success without putting in the grind. Flip that equation. Next, how will I know when I've made it? If you don't define this, you'll never feel it. You'll just keep moving the goalposts. Last one. What sacrifices am I willing to make? Because here's the truth. Everything has a cost. If you're not clear on what you're willing to give up, you'll quit the moment success demands a price. Now, let's get real. Enough theory. It's time for the part most people came here for. How do you actually build authentic success without getting lost in the noise? I've boiled it down to a framework I call the 3 pillars. The first pillar is clarity. You can't hit a target you haven't defined. Success in your terms, not society's, not your parents', not Instagram's. What do you actually want? Not the surface level answer, the real one. Because without clarity, you'll grind for years and wake up realizing you climbed the wrong damn mountain. The second pillar is consistency. Forget overnight success. The people you admire didn't win because they had one big break. They built habits that stacked over time. Every single day, actions that align with their values. Consistency is boring. That's why most people quit. But boring wins. And the third pillar, courage. Courage is staying true when everyone else tells you you're crazy. It's choosing your path when it's easier to follow the herd. Without courage, clarity and consistency collapse the moment you face pressure. With it, you become unstoppable. All right, now let's talk goals. Because if your goals aren't aligned, your whole framework is weak. Most people set goals backwards. They chase outcomes, money, cars, titles, without asking if those outcomes even matter to them. You've got to flip it. Start with values. What matters to you at the core? Then build goals from there. 2 types of goals matter most: process goals and outcome goals. Outcome goals are the results you want. Make 6 figures, launch the business, lose 20 pounds. That's fine. But process goals are where the magic happens. Process goals are the habits, the daily calls, the gym sessions, the writing hours. That's what actually moves you forward. And don't skip this. Every goal needs a why behind it. If you don't know why you're chasing it, you'll burn out or quit the second it gets tough. Your why is the fuel when motivation runs out. Now, habits. This is where success gets real, because habits are the infrastructure of your life. Start with keystone habits. These are the ones that trigger everything else. For some people, it's morning workouts. For others, journaling, meditation, or even just going to bed early. Nail your keystones and the rest of your life lines up. Second, environment design. Stop relying on willpower. Willpower is weak. Your environment will always win. If you want to eat better, don't keep junk food in the house. If you want to focus, shut down the distractions. Make success the path of least resistance. And finally, identity-based habits. This is the real unlock. Don't just say, I want to run a marathon. Become the kind of person who is a runner. Don't say, I want to make money. Become the kind of person who creates value daily. When your identity shifts, your habits stick. Put all this together: clarity, consistency, courage. Values-based goals with process as the focus. Habits designed around your identity and environment. That's how you build authentic success. Not in theory, but in reality. How to incorporate habits into your routine. Start disgustingly small. 2 push-ups, 5 minutes of reading, 1 sentence written. Stack it onto something you already do. After I brush my teeth, I meditate for 2 minutes. After I make coffee, I review my top 3 priorities. Consistency beats intensity. The goal isn't to crush it on day 1. It's to show up every day until it's automatic. All right, you don't need another motivational video. You need a system, a blueprint that keeps you aligned on the days you're on fire and the days you feel like quitting. Here's how you build it. First, write your personal success manifesto. Not a 20-page essay. I'm talking 1 page, 1 paragraph. The rules you live by, your non-negotiables. For me, it's things like family first. Money must buy freedom, not chains. Health before hustle. What are yours? Write them down. Then, set boundaries. Because here's the truth. Most people live other people's lives. They're chasing their parents' expectations, their boss's approval, their friend's version of success. You've got to build walls around your own vision. Protect it. Otherwise, you'll spend your whole life building someone else's dream. Weekly values check-in. Every Sunday night, ask, did my actions line up with my values this week, or did I get pulled off track? Monthly alignment review. Once a month, zoom out. Are the goals I'm chasing still mine, or did I drift into someone else's lane? Annual reset. At the end of the year, redefine success. Because what you want at 25 is not what you want at 35. Update the blueprint. All this helps you stay focused on your goal without deviations or distractions. But if you still think you need even more structure, even more specific strategies to achieve your goals, here's where the mental discipline kit comes in. Think of it like your toolbox. You'll have the templates, the prompts, the daily structures to keep your head clear and your focus sharp. Because no system works if your mind is cluttered with doubt, comparison, and noise. The kit keeps you grounded. And even better, you're not walking this road alone. You'll have community. Other people on the same journey, asking the same uncomfortable questions, holding themselves to the same standard. When you combine a personal blueprint, a review process, and the right mental tools, you stop relying on motivation. You stop relying on good days. You start relying on structure. And that's the difference between someone who hopes for success and someone who builds it. All right, before we wrap this up, I want to give you a challenge. Not a vague, just go be successful challenge, a real, practical 30-day success audit challenge. Here's what you're going to do. Take every goal you've been chasing, write them down. Check each one against your authentic values. Are they really yours, or are they borrowed from someone else? Identify the ones that don't align. Be honest. And then, here's the key. Realign your actions with your true desires. Cut what's fake. Double down on what matters. This isn't a nice-to-have exercise. Every day you wait costs you momentum, energy, and yes, money. Now, your next step, because reflection without action is useless, is to grab the Mental Discipline for Success kit. Inside, you'll find the exact framework to define success on your terms, build habits that stick, keep clarity and focus, and plug into a community of people actually walking this path. Start your personal success blueprint today. Don't just think about it, do it. And surround yourself with achievers who hold themselves to the same standard. That's how momentum compounds. Finally, here's your permission slip. Your version of success is the only one that matters. You have permission to disappoint others to fulfill yourself. And the magic? That compound effect of living authentically? It's unstoppable. Every day you live aligned with your true desires, every small habit, every decision based on your own blueprint, it adds up. Months from now, you won't recognize your old self. You'll be someone unstoppable. So here's the challenge. Start today. Do your 30-day success audit. Begin building your personal system. And grab the Mental Discipline for Success kit to make sure you're not just hoping for success, you're building it. Because this is your life, your rules, your success. Own it.